Good day everyone, my name is Mariane C. Aragones, and today our topic is all about the poetry in Philippine literature in English. So the Philippine literature in English stands as one of the richest bodies of work in the country's literary history. And poetry, more than any other form, captures the evolution of Filipino identity, the thoughts, and the feelings across more than a century. So it is born from the American colonial period, shaped by education, language policy, and changing social realities. Poetry in English became a powerful medium through which Filipino writers expressed their experiences, asserted their voice, and bridged local sensibility with the global language. So this report traces its origin, development, themes, and the major writers, and also ensuring significance. See to the historical background and development. So the first one is the period of apprenticeship during 19th to 1930s. So when the American rule began in 1898, English was introduced as the medium of introduction in public school. So the Filipino writers began learning the language and using it to compose poetry. So in the early stage, poets largely followed English and American models and imitating forms, meters, rhyme schemes, and also the diction. So the focus was on technical correctness and the mastery of the foreign language rather than the original expression. So themes were often sentimental, romantic, or academic, reflecting the writer's education and also the exposure to Western literature. Next is the period of emergence and maturity during 1930s up until 1960. So by the 1930s, Filipino poet had gained sufficient command of the English to adapt it to their own experiences. So they began to loosen rigid Western forms, experiment with rhythms, and inject distinctly Filipino imaginary values and also the sentiments. So this era was the rise of the first generation of poets who wrote with confidence, originality, and a distinct national voice. So the establishment of the publication like the Philippine Review, the Graphic, and the university journals provided venue for their works. Next is the contemporary period, which starts during 1960s up until now. So during 1960s onward, Philippine poetry in English became more diverse, bold, and experimental. So the free verse became dominant, and also the language became more conversational, flexible, and distinctly Filipino in tone. So poets addressed that social inequity, political oppression, national identity, gender, environment, and also the modernity. So the language itself was no longer seen as a foreign, but as a tool that adopt, enrich, and reclaimed by Filipino writers. And now let's talk about the major themes and the characteristics. So Philippine poetry in English is defined by a unique blend of influences, and experiences. So it is most enduring themes. It includes the search of national and cultural identity, the love, nature, and the Filipino landscape, the language and belonging, and also the spiritually values and the human experiences. So let's have first the search of national and cultural identity. So poets explore what it means to be a Filipino, that is caught between indigenous roots and foreign influences. So between the tradition and the modernity. So the next is the love, nature, and the Filipino landscape. So the beauty of the Philippine Islands, the reasons, the rural life, and the human affection are expressed with warmth and local imagery. So next is the language and belonging. So many poems reflect on the use of English itself and adopted language made to carry the Filipino thoughts, emotion, and their memories. So the last one is the spiritually values and the human experiences. So faith, family ties, resilience, sorrow, and hope are recurring themes drawn from Filipino life and its culture. So let's continue. Let's proceed to the notable poets and their contribution. So let's have first Fernando Maria Gregorio, and he started during early 19th, and he is one of the earliest to write the fine poetry in English, also known for published formal verse and patriotic themes. So next is Paz Marquez Benitez. So he also started during early to middle 19th century. So a pioneer in both prose and poetry. So her poems are noted for grace, delicacy, and emotional depth. So he also started during early to middle 19th centuries. So he wrote patriotic and reflective poetry. It also served as an early model for clarity and strength in expression. Next is Angela Manalang Gloria. He started during 1930s up until 1990s. So she is widely regarded as one of the finest early poets, known for craftsmanship, emotional power, and the poem entitled Revolt from Hymen. So next is Jose Garcia Villa. He started during 1930s up until 1970s. So